What up, Kool-Aid Nation? It's your boy Hughes, along with Oakley.
What up?
We're here to talk about everyone's favorite tight end on your Detroit Lions. You know him well as number 85 in your program, but he's number 1 in your hearts. So, Mr. Oakley, fill me in on your thoughts on this whole deal with let's trade MEbron. Where are you sitting with this thing?
Big Hughes, I am wondering if Eric MEbron can be shipped out first-class mail or priority or FedEx, because I'm done with the guy. He's got to go. We've already told him that he might be traded. He's got a big cap number. I think there's no doubt that the Detroit Lions get this guy heading somewhere else. I don't think that he can't be a decent player somewhere else, but I think his time's run up here, and I'm just done with the guy. So I'm sending him out and hopefully I can get a 4th for him. If not, maybe a mid-level player. If not, I'll probably even take a 5th at this point just to get him out of town. That's where I'm sitting. What about you?
But he was a 10th overall pick. What about his potential?
He was number 10. I hated it when he was number 10. He hasn't done anything to, show me that he can make big plays and big games. A lot of his numbers coming late in the year when stuff doesn't matter. And have you ever seen Eric MEbron take a ball up the seam and house it? No. Have you ever seen him score double-digit touchdowns? No.
Nope.
Have you ever seen him make anything other than his 5-yard out route where he tries to hurdle a defender? That's all you've seen. That's all you've seen out of this guy. So I don't care where he was drafted. I don't see the potential anymore. I do think that he could go to a different system, be used, and maybe be a mid to upper mid tight end, but he'd have to be in the perfect system and be used just as an absolute pass catcher all over the field. And I still don't think he's going to be explosive. I think he'd be lucky to get 1,000 yards if he ever reached that plateau, and he's probably always going to be a 5 to 7 touchdown per year guy, and that's just who he is. So potential, that was a good word, the first year and a half that we had him, and now it's ran its course, and it's time just to find somebody else that wants to play that upside card, because I've had enough.
Yeah, so like a lot of other things when it comes to this team, I'm agreeing with you on this. What I'm doing is I'm sitting down number 9 and saying, hey, can you survive in this offense without number 85? If he says, yep, I'm saying, okay, good, we're going to trade him and then get him out of town. But here's the thing. Eric MEbron's number 1 fan is Eric MEbron. He doesn't care about winning. He doesn't care about anything but his contract, what his numbers look like, and how big his chain is. So I'm good with getting rid of him. He was a complete bust. Our team would look completely different right now if Martin Mayhew knew what he was doing back in 2000, whatever it was. But complete bust. Waste of time. See you later.
Exactly. Now, hey, I want to hit on something real quick. You said talk to Stafford. I just in talking to you a little bit, I feel like you've been more on the side of hey, check in with him, make sure he's cool with stuff. He's our franchise player. We've already paid him, but I think there's certain things you can check with him maybe. But I'm more fine with Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia making whatever decisions they feel are best for the team, not letting Stafford deem who should be out there and who shouldn't. So
I get it, but but with the amount of money that you're paying this dude and the fact that you want him, I mean, if this was hockey, he would have to see on his jersey, right? So this guy is the captain of your team. He knows the players, and he knows what works and what doesn't work. So I think it's more of I'm not going to necessarily base my decision 100% on what he says. It's more of a courtesy, hey, this is what we're thinking. What's your input on the situation? Do you think we'll be fine without him? I think high superstar players in this league get that. Extra perk, so to speak, with that kind of stuff, and I think he deserves it when it comes to offensive skill players. Might as well just see what he has to say.
Okay. Well, I'm with you a little bit, but I don't know that Billy Belichick is coming there before he's getting rid of Randy Moss and talking to Tom Brady, because if so, I'm sure Brady would have liked Dirty Randy for another year or so. He just knew that he had done what he did, and he booted him and said deal with it. So I think, Matt Stafford is the best at standing up there and saying, oh, I love Eric MEbron, I'll throw to him all day. He said the same thing about Pettigrew. He said the same thing about all these other like bum receivers that hit the road. So he's always going to kind of stick up for his guys, but I guarantee in a closed door he's going to say, yeah, I can get by. I got plenty of other weapons. You know, this guy hasn't blown the roof off anyway. So, you know, I agree you can come to him for courtesy, but you might get the lip service of, oh, I love him, you know, I'd like, or he might just say on the sly, hey, I'll be fine no matter who you put out there, type of thing. So, keep the quarterback happy, but also do what you got to do from a front office perspective. And it'd be a nice move by Matt Patricia just to say, hey, I'm coming in here. I don't need an $8 million tight end, especially one that yaks like MEbron, and you know, just make a move finally of saying, hey, we're going to retool this organization that doesn't need all these fancy toys on the outside. We need meat and potatoes players, and take that $8 million and go get me a defensive end or an outside linebacker or some other crazy playmaker. Even Jimmy Graham. I'd much rather get rid of MEbron and pay Jimmy Graham, who's done some things in the league, than you know, keep that money and just give it to somebody who's not going to make a big enough impact to justify the dollars. So.
All right, so we're both on the same page of getting him out of town. I know you just mentioned Jimmy Graham. So if you look at the roster now, so Fells, who, you know, played decent when MEbron was out last year, is an unrestricted free agent, so he's up for re-signing if you wanted to. And then Michael Roberts, and then there's some no-name tight end down at the bottom behind him. So based on that, you going to free agency, or do you think we need to draft another young tight end and just start over there? What route do you think would be the best fit?
You're asking, do I go after Jimmy or do I draft somebody or something?
Yeah, do you go after? Do you try to sign a free agent tight end to replace MEbron, or do you try to draft somebody to replace MEbron?
I'd have to look at the list of available tight ends, because Jimmy Graham is like the, hey, if we can get him at 2 years, $10 million a year, and he comes in here and he's a red zone killer, I'd think about it, but I guess I'd have to see who else is out there. But I'm in the mode of getting like a legit, like younger veteran that I know can just move the sticks, catch the football, give me a good explosive play every now and again. But yeah, I'm going to go out in the third round and go see if Mike Gesicki's there. I'm going to see if this Hayden Hurst is there. I'm going to see if some of these young tight ends are there, and just go get one of them, because I can deal with a tight end in the third, fourth round, and then if he pans out or doesn't, I'm not as worried about it. But you know, just paying such a high price that we did for MEbron, it didn't matter what he does. He's never gonna justify it, and it was just a terrible value at that spot in the draft. So yeah, I just wait till third, fourth, get my guy.
You don't take a tight end in the top 10. Hello?
You do not. Nobody does except us. And the dumbest thing is Todd McShay saying, oh yeah, they'll get rid of MEbron, they'll take one at 20. Like, no, we're not taking one at 20 either. Like, I'm talking third, fourth round, and I'm talking wherever the value finally meets the player, not where just picking a player because we have a hole there. Like, it's tight end, you know?
Well, you remember last year all the quote-unquote experts had us taking Njoku at some point, or even O.J. Howard if he slipped. Like, everybody was concerned about the Lions tight end in the first round last year. Like you said, the McShays of the world, who right now, we might as well just bring this up, has us taking Connor Williams in the first round, an offensive tackle. So you know how much he pays attention. So
where would Connor Williams play on our team?
I have no idea. Because obviously Taylor Decker's a stud, and you just paid Ricky Wagner a crap ton of money to play the other right tackle. So I guess you did find it important to have a third offensive tackle, but you're going to use a first round pick on him. Come on. And
isn't Connor Williams like 6'7", 300+ pounds? Like, what's he going to play guard at 6'7"?
And the guy who only bench pressed 14 times.
Yeah, get out of town, man.
I'm pretty sure Baker Mayfield had more reps than he did.
Yeah, that's just national guys not knowing what's going on. I mean, I wouldn't mind Will Hernandez, you know, if they stretch and they think that guard is so important. Yeah. I mean, if you take a guy that, has played guard his whole life and is basically an all-pro guard, I'll live with it. But, yeah, we're not taking a tackle that's a super tall guy and not strong and saying, hey, play left guard. Like, no.
No, not going to happen.
No.
Sorry, Todd. Go back to the drawing board, Todd.
Yeah, go back somewhere. I don't know if drawing board's the place I'd send him. What's your take on this tight end? If you had the perfect scenario, what would you do?
Fells showed me enough to kind of be like a gap guy. Like if you think long term that Roberts could be like your starting tight end, then just re-sign Fells to be like your gap guy till he's ready, and then just maybe grab a guy later in the draft is just like a roster filler type of thing. I guess it just depends on how high they view Michael Roberts.
But here's my take though. Like Darren Fells is a good guy. He's a solid like blocker. He can catch when it's thrown to him for the most part, but he's not an explosive guy. He's just kind of a mid to lower tier tight end. So he could play, but he can't be an every down type guy. Then Michael Roberts, like as much as I loved him in the draft, the reason I loved him is I thought he was going to be a red zone terror, and he's just a big target that has huge hands and catch the ball. So he's never going to be a 70, 80 catch. He's going to be more like a 50 catch, hopefully 8+ touchdown guy if you use him in the red zone. So what I really want, which is what Eric MEbron is not, is I want that tight end that is just an absolute freak athlete that no linebacker can guard and that can get a 50-yard catch right up the middle because we have him spread out everywhere else. And we don't have that like on the team, and I don't know who else is available that could fit that in free agency, but I know there's a couple of these young guns that could get up the seam, can catch a ball and run after catch, and actually, because we always talk about matchups. Like, we always think we got these great matchups. Well, we don't have anybody in the middle that can take the top off in the middle or on the outside, to be honest. And that's what I think we need is a tight end that can run past the linebacker, catch it, and then go to the house. And we got to try to find that guy.
If we really want to break down like the offensive part of this with MEbron, like correct me if I'm wrong, but like the way that they had the offense set up with him is that he wasn't necessarily playing or running traditional tight end routes. He was more so doing it with kind of like third wide receiver routes. So maybe the thought with JVC is that, hey, we don't need MEbron anymore. Kenny showed us enough that we can kind of use him for that. So we don't necessarily need a tight end that can stretch the field. We just need a tight end that can run the 5-yard hook, 5-yard out, 5-yard in, whatever, get us the first down on 3rd and 3. So maybe that's the train of thought, too, that they don't necessarily need to put that type of player on the roster, use that type of salary cap because it's just not necessary.
Right, yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, it depends if you're going to use those 3 wideouts and spread people out that way, but, I mean, I still think you need Theo and maybe a tight end that can make some plays in the middle just to keep everybody, like, ultra honest, and Kenny is an outside guy. GT should be able to work the middle much better than MEbron, or probably any other tight end that we could get. So if you want to move him in there and just have him run drags and crosses all day, I'm good with it, but you gotta pull in that middle so the guys on the outside have room to work. But I agree with you, they might be going like a little bit different, but yeah, I don't think Michael Roberts is like the end all be all at tight end. I just think he's a red zone monster, and you're right, if they don't want to invest in tight end, use our outside guys, that's fine, but you still probably need another body, even if you get some of these young guys like that can both block or just an all package, like what's Mark Andrews too. He's like a Jason Witten type, they said, where he can just catch and move the sticks and run. I mean, that would be fine. I mean, I don't know. I just need a tight end that can either move sticks, score touchdowns, or make big plays. And they don't have to do all that, I guess, but they got to do one really well.
Hey, just think if we would have taken a chance in the 4th, 5th, or 6th round, whatever it was last year, took Jake Button, you'd be having him coming into this year.
Yeah, that's what we had him pegged, both taking him, and if he pulls out of that injury, like, I don't know,
they're already saying he's going to take first team reps when they get to that point. They're already crowning him the starter.
Right. Well, he's a heck of a player, and he's just a great kind of do everything tight end, but also a guy that can make some of those bigger plays. The thing that I wonder though is, like, if you look back at that draft, I think I would have taken him either it was 3rd or 4th round, and I don't know, man. I don't think we've seen the most of Kenny G yet. I think if you swap in a couple of years and look at Jake Butt versus Kenny Golladay, we might be more happy with Golladay, to be honest.
I think you're right. Yep, I think you're right.
And we hated that pick when he took him. I mean, I hate to put that on record, but did not like it at all. But all I did was see that kid make plays and look like a 5-year veteran in his uniform, thinking, man, this guy's a rookie. Okay.
Honestly, the reason we probably hated it is because we knew nothing about the dude. Because I feel like if we would have seen him or saw any of his tape or saw what he looked like, we probably would have been, kind of excited about him because he looks like a freak.
Yeah, I'm excited, man, for that year too. So let's watch that play out over the next few. Hey, Jake Butt, hopefully he turns out to be a great tight end. We loved him at Michigan, but man, if Kenny Galladay can turn out to be on the high end of what we hope for, that might be a nice pick by Bob Quinn. So
I think so. I think you're right.